Myself, I'm Rebecca Silverthorne. I'm the International Conversions Officer for the Kent Business School. And thank you so much for attending today's webinar put together by the Kent Business School at University of Kent. Today, we are going to be going through a little bit about the careers and employability services at the Kent Business School and at University of Kent. We're going to have some time to learn a little bit about the Kent Business School. We're going to hear from Steve Robinson, as well as Helen Johnson, to hear a little bit more about careers and employability services. We also have some lovely students on the call with us to talk about their experiences looking for jobs and studying at KBS. So if you do have any questions for anyone at this point within the webinar, feel free to put your questions into the chat. We'll have a few opportunities to answer any questions. This session is also going to be recorded, so if you have registered for this event, we will be sending out a recording within hopefully the week. All right, today we're going to be hearing from Steve Robinson, as I said, our Senior Lecturer in Business and the Head of Recruitment Admissions and Outreach. We're also going to be hearing from Helen Johnson, the Careers Advisor for the Careers and Employability Services at Kent. On the call, we also have Debbie Cook, our Admissions Team Manager, and myself, International Conversions Officer. We also have, I can't believe he's not on here, Dr. Sadiq Mohammed is around to answer any questions as well. That's our Associate Dean of Education at the Kent Business School. So again, if you do have any questions about applications or offers, we have a lot of people here to support as well. So feel free to pop those questions into the chat. We also have two students here, Sarush and Prafika, who are able to answer any questions about the student experience. So we have a lot of opportunities here to answer any questions you may have. All right, with that, I know we have a lot to cover today, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to hand it over to Stephen Robinson to take it over. Unfortunately, I think you are muted there, Steve.
There we are. That's better.
Perfect.
Okay, sorry about that little technical blip there. As Rebecca kindly said, my name is Steve Robinson, as it says on the lecture slide there. I'm just going to take 5 minutes of your time before we get into the meat of today's webinar, when we can move on to careers and employability. I just want to give you 5 minutes, brief introduction to Kent Business School, a little bit about the University of Kent, just to give you a flavour of what we're all about here. As Rebecca said, I'm a senior lecturer in business here, and I'm also head of student recruitment and admissions. If you don't know, the University of Kent is based in the beautiful county of Kent. Our main campus, top right there, beautiful campus, big Parkland campus, is in Canterbury. We're about 50 minutes or so from London by train, so very close to Canterbury. This is one of the top campuses in the UK. If you've ever had a chance to visit, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, please ask your friends or relatives or anybody else that you might have known that have studied with us, and you'll know what a fantastic campus we have here in Canterbury in the top right there. Virtually all of our postgraduate courses, with one exception, are based in Canterbury. We do have one in Medway, which is up closer to London on our urban campus, but the majority of our programs are here at Canterbury. If you don't know about University of Kent at all, or not so much as you would like to know, obviously you can go to our webpage, you can look at the applicants page, which I'll tell you more about in a second, and you can get a flavour of not only the campus, but all our courses, our facilities, etc. But the University of Kent has around 20,000 students, which in terms of British universities is slightly, well, sort of average, slightly higher than average, not too small, not too big, but just about right in size. The business school is the biggest school within the university. We have around 10 to 12% of all students are in the business school. What does that mean? It means roughly around 2,000 students just in the business school. We're based in the Simpson building on campus, a beautiful, fairly modern building towards the middle of the campus. Of our 2,000 students, around roughly 1,500, 1,600 are undergraduates, with a further 3 to 4 postgraduates, mainly doing PGT, meaning postgraduate taught programs. If you don't know, then Kent Business School is a triple accredited. There it is at the top, very important. We are a triple accredited business school. I'm sure you've done your research, but if you don't know, that means we've been accredited by the top 3 accrediting agencies. That's at the bottom: AMBA, which many of you would have heard of, AACSB, and also EQUIS. So if you're looking to study in the UK as a postgraduate, this triple accreditation is super important, and we do have that. We're also top 20, 19th for UK in business and management. We have a big focus, as you'll be hearing about shortly, on careers and employability from my colleague Helen. We also have an entrepreneurial centre here, which, if you get a chance to look at online, is our big Aspire Centre. And we also pride ourselves with our level of excellence in terms of research. Indeed, 80%, as you see there, that stat, 80% of KBS research is deemed as world leading or internationally excellent. Our mission is to develop you, that's you that's going to be coming here hopefully in September, to be the next generation of responsible leaders and entrepreneurs who can make a difference in the world. If you do come this coming September, you'll be coming at a particularly exciting time at Kent, because we've been going through the planning and we are rolling out our new education modernisation. We are restructuring the academic year. For undergraduates, that means 3 teaching terms. For postgraduates, it would mean 3 teaching terms plus a summer term when you'd normally do a project or a consultancy option or maybe a placement. So the shape of the degree is changing. You do 2 modules every term over 3 terms, and then you do, that's 120 credits, and then you do your summer project or placement or consultancy work. We're also making the timetable more student friendly, not big, huge gaps everywhere, but it'll be block timetabling, enabling you to study, but also have time off for your private study, perhaps go to the library, see your friends, see your fellow students, perhaps do sports or other activities. We're also making our assessment and feedback more authentic. What does that mean, Steve? It means more world-related, job-related assessments that are linked to the sort of tasks, the sort of projects that you will be asked to do in the world of work. Here at KBS, we have our 12-month postgraduate degrees. All of them can be done with a 2-term or 1-term incorporated master's. This is like a pre-sessional, where if you feel your academic or language skills need to be enhanced, you can come here in advance of your actual master's degree and do an international incorporated master's. I've already mentioned the authentic assessments designed with industry and bodies and professional bodies in mind. In the summer, as I said, you can do a consultancy project or maybe an internship or a placement. Many of our degrees offer a 12-month placement work experience, if you will, industrial experience after the particular degree is finished. We offer outstanding English language support, and when you graduate, fantastic, you will graduate probably at Canterbury Cathedral. If you're based in Canterbury, in Medway, it would be at Rochester Cathedral, but 2 of the best places to have your graduation ceremony. We have a huge choice of postgraduate programs. I'm not going to read them all out because I've only got 5 minutes and I'm already using up most of that time. But depending on where you want to go, it's all about either deepening your existing undergraduate skills. So you may be taking one of your undergraduate subjects and looking at something more focused, more bespoke, in more depth, Or possibly you are changing directions completely. Maybe you did a different undergraduate degree. Maybe it was in maths, maybe it was in engineering, maybe it was in IT, and perhaps you want to branch out into a business related subject. So we get a mixture of students, some who have done business before and some who are coming into business from other subject areas. Although there's a huge list of degrees that we do offer, they are really in different, if you like, pathways or routes. Those of you that are interested in analytics, operations and systems, these sort of areas, business analytics, you may want to look at the sort of degrees you may have applied for the degrees we have at the bottom here: business analytics, global logistics, supply chain management, strategic project management. So if you see your future as a business analyst, maybe working in logistics, procurement, supply chain, then these are the sort of master's degrees that would be of interest to you there at the bottom. If you're more interested in financial services, the working of the stock markets, finance and investment, risk, insurance, financial services, then we offer a whole host of degrees there at the bottom you'll see that are similar but all slightly different. So they have some overlapping modules, but they're also very different. Details of all these degrees, as I'm sure you'll be aware, are on our webpage. So financial management, financial investment and risk, sustainable finance and investment, or finance and economics. They're all there for those of you that see your future perhaps working for investment banks, merchant banks, insurance houses, pension funds, this sort of thing. Another theme you can follow is to do with marketing, entrepreneurship, international business. This is very popular. If you want to work in different countries, you may be thinking about international business and management. Maybe you have an interest in marketing. You want to explore that in greater depth. Maybe you study it as an undergraduate as a little bit, but you want more depth. Then perhaps you want to look at the MSc in marketing, or possibly digital marketing, which is obviously looks at the setting up of coding, of web pages, of social media marketing, and the analytics that are associated with that. So that's another theme you can go forward with. It really depends on your choices, what your career aspirations are. Equally, leadership and management, we offer a global healthcare management degree and also a human resource management degree, which is done part-time. So a huge choice. Those of you that have got 3 years work experience, particularly if you've been a supervisor, a team leader, or a middle manager, you may want to consider the MBA as well, or something you could move forward to. Ours is an AMBER accredited, I'm sure you've heard of this, yeah, an AMBER accredited master's MBA, Masters in Business Administration, which means you've got to have those 3 years of post undergraduate degree or post PGT work experience to study on this particular degree. All our degrees have professional recognition and are accredited by a number of different bodies. This is not any more expense, it's no more money, it's no more work, it's just part of the degree process. So from AMBER, AACSB, EQUIS, I mentioned across the top, right through different accountancy bodies, CIPD, SIPS, etc. And the accreditations vary depending on which degree, excuse me, you are doing. Those of you that have applied, which will be many people listening today, if you haven't checked it out already, please check out our KBS applicant webpage. One of my colleagues, Rebecca, maybe can put the link in the chat, but you can go to this webpage. The link's on the page there also, and you can book a one-to-one chat with our academic staff. You can talk to the director of studies. You can book a little one-to-one session. You can see some of the things that make us unique. Are we perfect? We're not perfect, but we think we're very good. You can have a look at our facilities. You can hear from previous graduates what they're up to and how you can take the next step. Apologies for this quick whirlwind tour. I just wanted to take up 5 minutes of your time just to give you a brief taster, just a brief overview of Kent Business School. And there'll be chance later on, after we've been hearing from Helen, if you've got any more questions about the business school, myself and some colleagues will be sticking around to answer those questions. So I'll stop my share. Did I get it in 5 minutes, Rebecca? I probably went over. I usually go over, so forgive me.
Thanks so much, Steve. I appreciate you going through this all. I think we don't have any questions in the chat at the moment, but if you do have any questions for Steve, feel free to pop them into the chat, and maybe we will come back to them after we hear from Helen. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Helen Johnson to talk a little bit about employability at Kent. Perfect. I can see your screen. Looks great.
Just unmute myself there. Sorry. Just having. Oh, okay, so thanks very much for inviting me along, and it's great to hear all of the brilliant opportunities that are available at Kent Business School. Certainly, I've helped some students, some postgraduate students, into some of those job roles that Steve was talking about there. So it's really great to hear that some of those courses are really going to benefit you in getting into the careers that you want to get into. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how the Careers Service works really closely with Kent Business School to support students at Kent Business School into some of these opportunities. This session is going to be focused quite a lot on how we might help you to enhance your employability on campus. So some of the things that you can do as soon as you get here, literally as soon as you get your Kent login, you can start accessing some of these great opportunities. And then the next session on the 5th of August, we're going to be talking about the jobs market in the UK. So these two sessions do complement one another, so do come along to both. So just a bit of an introduction. So my name's Helen Johnson and I'm a careers advisor. So I work with a team of other careers colleagues across both Canterbury and Medway campuses that Steve was just talking about a moment ago. We're what is deemed to be the careers and employability experts at the University of Kent. So we can help with a number of different things. And in this short session, I'm going to be talking about some of the things that we can offer to help you. I'm going to be covering some of the key services offered by the Careers and Employability Service and other things across campus. Not enough time to cover all of it, so please do explore some of it. Rebecca's going to be putting some of the links in the chat as we go through. But the idea is that this provides you with a really good taster of what is available to you, and also then you can when you come, you can literally start by coming to book an appointment with one of us, and we can go through things on an individual bespoke career planning way with you in person or virtually on Teams. So I'll talk a bit more about that in a moment. So if anybody wants to start chatting and getting to know one another, it's a really good thing. Globally, whenever you attend any kind of careers conversation, it usually starts off with where are you now and what is the weather like? And adding that kind of thing in the chat is always quite interesting about where people are coming from. So if you're already in the UK or elsewhere, it's great to meet you and hear from you. At the moment, it's quite sunny here. We've had a bit of rain, but it's been about 34 degrees in previous days, but today it's a little bit cooler, which is quite refreshing. Another thing that's really, really helpful to understand is what kind of careers and employability support do you need personally to make the most of your time at Kent? So if there's anything that you think of that might help you, that you don't know whether or not we offer it, start talking about that now, and we can certainly answer those questions or tell you whether or not it actually happens here, and signpost it to you. There is a lovely picture there of Canterbury campus on Elliott footpath of the labyrinth there, which is a kind of maze, but not quite. And in the distance there, you can see that lovely picture of Canterbury Cathedral in the background. So that's another thing that careers slides always contain, is some kind of path, some kind of pathway. So a little bit of information about how hard is it actually to get a job in the UK. So lots of people say, when I talk about what do you need, lots of people ask this question. So they say, what do I need to get a job in the UK? And how hard is it? Okay. And the answer really is it depends. Okay. So it's really, really important to think about the sector that you want to go into. So various sectors in the UK, but lots of them vary according to methods of recruitment, according to how many jobs there might be, where the jobs are, so the location. External influences, we absolutely know that external influences do affect the job market, both positively and in a more challenging way. So political things, maybe budgetary, and that can happen within the employer itself or with external influences global even. The size of employer as well. So we do a lot of support for students who want to work in big multinational companies, internationally or nationally, but we also support with people who want to get into smaller organisations. So SME means small and medium-sized enterprise, which is around 250 employees or less. And also those of you who might want to work for a startup or even start up a business yourselves. The other thing is employment varies. There are different types of employment, and we'll talk a bit more about that in the August session, but whether or not it is a graduate scheme or a different type of employment, more direct entry as well. But all of this is all about how much you learn about the UK job market, okay, and how you get into it, how you might approach employers. And obviously that is where we come in. So your ability to develop these particular transferable skills and take advantage of opportunities that are actually presented to you within the university structure is really, really important at this stage. And understanding helps you to understand about how a bit more about the UK job market. The other thing as well, I think it's your mindset. So a lot of people talk about mindset. A lot of people, it's really, really important to absolutely, you're prepared to believe and persevere with your job applications and your organisation as well. So obviously applying for jobs, taking advantage of opportunities while you're on campus, alongside your studies, as well as lots of other things that obviously busy students get involved with, is really important to be organised and have the most positive mindset that you possibly can. So again, some of the reasons to engage with the Careers and Employability Service, as I said before, we work really closely with Kent Business School, presenting events like this, but also helping with a number of other things. So we can obviously help you with that understanding of the UK job market for starters, and actually understanding timelines, because there are different timelines according to whether or not you're applying for a placement. Now, I do want to be clear that sometimes the terminology needs understanding as well for students that are coming from overseas. So a placement in the UK is a 12-month work-based opportunity, usually happening for a master's student, usually happening after your first year of your master's. So it's really important to understand that that's not the same as in some other countries. A placement might mean an actual job. Okay, so thinking about that kind of thing, this is where we can help with some of the terminology and how you navigate that jobs market. We can also help you have a bit of an insight into those skills that employers might be looking for. So maybe they're all looking for a certain type of thing and you're wondering whether or not you've already got it. And if you haven't already got it, how you can develop it. Okay, so we can help with that and how you might align some of your existing skills across in your applications. We can also help you to understand a little bit more about how and where to access these opportunities, because unfortunately for all of us, they're not based on one single website, so they're all over the place, and how you actually access those opportunities are all over the place. Okay, so it's really good to get involved with us. Sometimes I also get asked, what kind of employers do engage with the university? So I wanted to give you a bit of an example of the most recent employers who've recruited placement students, postgraduate placement students, doing that 1 year opportunity. And I've just picked a few of these examples. So we've got Cummins, Amazon, BMW, the NHS, Procter & Gamble, Bupa, Aldi, BT Group, and Sleeping Giant Media. Obviously there are more, but these are just examples, and how each employer, what they're looking for in the candidate is different. And so what we try to do is help you with things on campus to help you harness these particular skills that each employer is looking for. So I'm going to go into a couple of things just here, which are talking about what we offer. So we offer something called the University of Kent Career Hub. So you can book appointments on there, you can see vacancies, you can see voluntary activities that you can sign up for, and you can also see part-time work adverts. Okay, we help you to do this planning, to help you work out an action plan. Somebody called it yesterday a roadmap, which I really liked the idea for. But basically, we help you to start planning ahead. And that really does, I can't emphasize it enough, really does happen early on with your applications. We can obviously give you one-to-one appointments. So with myself and my colleagues, we can give you on-campus, in-person appointments, but we can also give you appointments on Teams. We support students for 3 years after they leave Kent as well. So it makes my job very interesting because I speak to graduates all over the world. And the reason for that is because sometimes people go and do things, they travel first, they do all sorts of different things. So it's really good to then know that they can come back to us for support if they change jobs within that time and that kind of thing. The other thing, things that we do, some other things, we've got a number of different career resources, including a CV checker and that kind of thing. I'll talk a bit more about those in a moment. We also have an award-winning scheme called Employability Points, or EP, where it means, in basic terms, points means prizes. And basically what happens is for every single employability activity that a student gets involved with outside of their studies, so it could be part-time work, volunteering, being an ambassador, doing things like today, for example, everything that increases your employability gets a point, and then towards, or more than 1 point, and then towards the end of the year you can cash those in for applications to internships or work experiences with local and regional employers. The other things that we offer is something called Study Plus, which is short courses that are outside of your studies. So they could be in something completely different to your studies, trying a language, but it could also be things that might complement your studies, like advanced Excel, or some kind of maybe something that looks good on your CV, like a first aid certificate or something like that. And the other thing that we do is help students with their applications to find part-time work. Now, normally we get lots of questions about part-time work in these kind of chats, these kind of sessions, and we get lots of questions about that. So it's good to know that the Students' Union, so Kent Union, they have something called Job Shop, where they advertise paid part-time and temporary seasonal work of students so that they can fit their jobs around their studies. And some of the examples are there on the screen, but you can see all those adverts via the Career Hub that I was talking about previously. The other thing to know is that both Kent Union and the university have a number of outlets on campus. You can see there. K-Bar, in some of the previous pictures, there was Woody's, the bar, and there's a nightclub and a shops and all sorts of things. So it's good to know that you can also get opportunities where you can apply for work on campus if that is what you would also prefer. So there's a number of links there as well. Appointments with an advisor in the career service could include a number of different things. Okay, so my role, I'm a qualified careers advisor. We're accredited by an external body called the Career Development Institute. It could cover anything from I'm not sure what I want to do with my future, but it could also be I know what I want to do, but I don't know how to get there. And lots of the time with overseas students, they have amazing opportunities that they have already experienced in their home countries, and they're either trying to align those with the UK market, or they're trying to carve out a different career with their new qualification. So that is all about, that's the kind of thing that we also help with. There's a little bit at the bottom about quick advice, and that's exactly how it sounds. If you haven't got much time, but you really need a quick question or a quick CV check, we also offer those opportunities too. Some of our workshop programme, again, I'm not going to go through all of it, there's too much to mention, but we work all the way through the vacations, delivering these online in the vacation time, and in term time, most of them are in person. So we're looking at our content at the moment over the summer to deliver again next year. We have a number of employer sessions as well. So lots of employers come to Kent to talk to Kent students, as well as to talk to KBS specifically students. We also have a large careers fair, both in the autumn and the spring, together with a 2-week-long employability festival. And these happen around, the first one happens around October, and that sounds very early, but the reason for that is that we really want to help you to start thinking about it as early on as possible. Some of the online tools, I'm just not long towards the end now, I've got a couple more slides, but some of the online tools that we buy in to help students cover things like an AI CV checking tool. And some of you might have heard of application tracking systems that employers use, where you submit your application into their application portal and a computer reads it before a human does. Okay, so we've bought in something called CareerSet, which imitates application tracking systems for students. We obviously can also provide the human element. We can help you as well with your CV. If you've got feedback from CareerSet and you're not sure what it means or how to improve it, we can obviously talk to you about that. But we've got a number of other platforms that also help, such as Graduates First, which helps with the selection tests employers use, and Shortlist Me, which helps with the video interviews that sometimes students really find quite tricky. So these are the top tips. I'll just leave you to sort of screenshot it. I know Rebecca's going to send out the slides, but it's kind of a to-do list. When you actually get your Kent login, these are the types of things that you should start thinking about. But do come along and speak to us in the Careers and Employability Service as soon as you want to, so that we can help you to start that roadmap of your what you might do alongside your studies in order to help you to be as employable as possible. That slide just talks a little bit about some of the things that we offer. But one thing it's reminding me to let you know that do please link with us on LinkedIn, the University of Kent Careers and Employability Service, the Kent Business School and the University of Kent, so that, and all of us individually, you'll be very welcome to follow all of our activities. So that's the end of the session from me, and I'm going to hand over to Rebecca to introduce the students so that you can hear from them and have some good questions, hopefully, coming.
Amazing.
Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Helen. That was very informative. So much information. I tried to put a few of your links into the chat, and like you said, we'll send out a recording of this shortly after this session. I feel like there was a lot of really good information. So if everyone needs maybe a moment to think about if there was anything missing, but please feel free to put any questions that you have in the chat. Yeah, I know you did mention there's like a lot of different events and stuff going on throughout the year, which usually those are posted on our What's On calendar, I think on the University of Kent. So you can always keep an eye on our calendars throughout the year. Are there any, I guess, like, do those kind of also incorporate like kind of networking opportunities within those like employability? I guess it's kind of connecting people more with businesses. You could expand a little bit more on those sessions.
Definitely. Yeah. So the employer engagement team here, they work quite closely to obviously get the careers fair, present the exhibitors, not presenters, for the careers fair, and also to get various different people across the year to present to students. And each time, I would say it does provide a networking opportunity. And the students who get the most out of it are those ones who actually have an active, presence. They ask questions, they get involved, they link with the presenter on LinkedIn afterwards. So definitely don't be a passive participant in those opportunities as much as possible, because even if it isn't necessarily your ideal employer, it might be somebody who's very similar. So they might provide you with similar kind of advice to get into your ideal employer. So I definitely say network as much as you possibly can with all the activities that are happening on campus.
Amazing, thank you. And then I think as we wait for some more questions to come in, maybe we can introduce our students and have them tell us a little bit more about themselves, and we can ask some more questions about studying and looking for work at Kent. Yeah, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Purvika, do you want to go first?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Purvika. I'm currently at my master's International Business and Management with Industrial Placement. And so happy to announce, especially happy for Helen and me to announce that I've received my offer letter just earlier this week for my placements. And feeling grateful, have taken a lot of services from employability, and what I would suggest you is start as early as possible and attend all the events, and let me know if you want to ask anything.
Great, thank you. What about you, Sarosh? Do you want to introduce yourself?
Well, hello to everyone. I'm Surush. I study Master of Business Analytics, and I am currently working as student ambassador for KBS for Business Analytics department. And I've used University Careers Hub services too before for in one or two sessions, and I know that university has really good workshops for just telling us how to use different services, how the rules and strategies work in job industry in the UK. And also we can talk about the job shop. I think job shop help a lot of students to find a part-time jobs, and also look through the portal that you have access from the university. You can look for so many different job opportunities inside the town, not only in the university, but some of them are also out of the Canterbury or maybe in the Canterbury. And yeah, if there is anything else that I can mention, just let me know.
Great, thank you. Obviously, you talked a little bit about being an ambassador, and I know that you both have been an ambassador as well. And that's one opportunity to get involved with that obviously helps your employability. Maybe I'll ask Purvika first. What other things did you get involved with to help your employability while you were here? I know you're still here, but
When I'm an ambassador, like it helped me a lot of with networking, along with the careers and employability team. Right from before being an ambassador as well, we started it with the job shop where we got an advertisement, we have a vacancy. Right from tailoring my CV and also helping me to prepare for the interview questions, filling the applications, and how to respond in the agenda of meeting and everything. Careers and employability helped a lot, and even after becoming the ambassador, it gave me a constant support for how to handle things, how to get into events, networking, and how to showcase our talents.
Brilliant, thank you. Sarosh, you mentioned when I spoke to you before, you mentioned some of your friends had got jobs on campus.
Yeah, some of them actually find a job in the library's cafe. Some of them are working in the different restaurants that we have in the campus. And some of them are helping disabled people to just moving around the campus. And the jobs that actually you can get involved are a lot. So sometimes in the campus, in the weekends, we have some visitors, which is University Open Day. And we can see some of the students are getting involved in their sectors too, as a helper, I think maybe I should say. And if you look at myself, I'm usually joining university virtual events. I'm talking to the students about my courses and my modules, and I can just help them to know what is better for them, what they need to expect from whatever they're trying to study. Yeah, we have different types of jobs. It depends. It really relies on you. You can also maybe find a job in a gym. I don't know. It really depends on you.
Yeah, definitely. And it's employers love all of this. They love all of that transferring communication skills, ability to sort of present to other people. All of that then goes onto your CV, which is great. And UK employers love that kind of thing. So I just want to talk a little bit about, obviously, people from your academics or your absolute academic, they're your subject specialists, and there's activities that go on in Kent Business School to help support you with your employability, but there's also activities that happen outside, which we've been talking about today. And within the Careers and Employability Service, we obviously can help with interview skills and a number of different online platforms. Tell me a bit about the kind of thing that you feel has been most helpful when it comes down to some of these support for employability activities in Kent Business School and with the Career Service.
Shall I start first, or?
Yes, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, besides all of the job opportunities that you're getting from the university, through the job shop, also university is providing some workshops related to how to find a job and everything. Those are really important, and we have a lot of workshops. I only had the chance to attend in few of them, but the ones that I actually attended was so good. They were so good. And one of them was about, okay, you're graduating from university, what is happening next? And in the workshop, university invited some previous year students, so you can directly talk to them and see what was happening with them, and what they actually think about job industry. What is the best path for approaching for getting a job? And because those people are basically study the same field as you, so they are the best example and the best people who actually can give you some consultancy to understand what approach you need to take to get inside the job, what other skills you need to get, and how you need to get yourself more prepared for the interviews and jobs, and how do actually employees actually think about you, and how they actually look at you, and what kind of qualifications you need to provide to them. And that was a really good thing. And also in another workshop, they taught us about the other services, other internal services that university can offer you for if you want to just find a job abroad in different countries. And they also, I can remember they told us that in different platforms, if you try to just get signed up with university email address, everything is going to be more different with your personal email address. You can have access to more information through your university email address account. And these things are a good thing. And I think all of us should consider all of these opportunities that university is trying to offer us.
Thank you. What about you, Purvika?
I would say, along with the workshops and all the events conducting, just go and speak what you're doing and how the things going, because you might be right or not at certain point. Taking the advices and opinion from the advisors helps them a lot, being in the career advising department. And also, I would say to attend all the employability events and workshops, because there will be a lot of alumni coming, employers coming. Through the networking there, it leads you to the better growth of your success, and also it'll give you the exact image of how things going outside your university, what you might feel or what you might be able to prepare yourself after you finishing your graduation.
Yeah, I think it's really important that we've talked quite a lot about mindset, haven't we, Purvika, and sort of ensuring that you persevere and that you believe that you're going to actually succeed, which is really evident in you. One of the things we talked about was what you also would advise people who are looking, and I can see there's a question about the placement in the chat, and we'll get to that in a moment. But one of the things that you wanted to advise people is to start earlier. Yeah, so tell us a bit more about that.
Usually when we come at September, we feel like, okay, placement starts in the next September. We have 12 months time. We can do it later. We'll finish our course first. But I would suggest you to start as soon as you come, because there will be plenty of opportunities in the months November, December, and January, where a lot of masters as well as the undergrads placement opportunities will be open. If you start early, you will know the mistakes in your early stage and can prepare better. But if you start late, it might be little late to prepare yourself for the better. And also, while talking to a lot of things and going through a lot of companies, you learn a lot of different approach, not only just applying through the website or the applying through some of the posts that have been done, but still I learned a lot of speculative approach, how to talk to employers, and also how to make sure you showcase yourself in your LinkedIn profile, that how capable you are and what are your potentialities. So start early, do your own research, don't completely rely on some of the rules that will publish, and target your companies. This is what I would say.
Right. And you actually found your placement opportunity in a way that we would say was pretty gold standard when we were talking about networking earlier, as part of Inspiring Women Week.
Yeah, I attended one of the event in the Women Week program. There I got an alumni of University of Kent. She's Kinga, and I started speaking with her through LinkedIn, saying that I have a placement year and almost it's March. And I was a little desperate at that time, asking her, can you help me anything like networking or giving me any suggestions? Because she's an entrepreneur now. She has her own marketing company. So she made me a connection with other two people who is having their own consultancy firms. In that one, I was speaking to David, just asking for the reference for one company that I targeted. But out of luck, and David got impressed to the potentiality I have, and he's offering me a 12-month industrial placement, and I'll be starting it in September. This is how I created my own opportunity through LinkedIn.
Yeah. And so that is an example of how networking at one of the university events actually created that opportunity. But obviously it was you that actually, and your tenacity and your perseverance actually followed through, which is really, really credit to you. Well done. I don't know whether or not there are any other questions. I'll just come to that question in the chat. Please describe the difference between not having a placement year and having one. What are the benefits of doing a placement year? Does one get paid when you are doing the job in placement? There's a lot of questions in one. And is it competitive like the job market? What is the percentage of employability after the 1 year masters while doing the placement? So there's a lot there. Thanks very much for putting that in, because they're all really, really valid questions. I suppose to start with, you definitely would get paid. Okay, most students get paid when they do a placement year. If they don't get paid, often it is their choice to do that. So it might be in something that might be particularly unusual or something like that. But certainly at master's level, it's highly unlikely that you wouldn't get paid. Okay, so a lot of placements are advertised with the salary next to them, exactly the same way that you would be looking for a job. The benefits of doing a placement year. So you have got, it means that your master's is a 2-year degree, okay, 2-year postgraduate degree. So that means that it's appealing to quite a lot of people because it means that they have got that student visa for 2 years. They don't need to kind of concern themselves about the visa situation because it means that they're still under the student visa. The other thing is that particularly for overseas students, it really helps them to sort of carve out an opportunity for themselves within the UK market before they then decide what kind of jobs that they go on to do, because that year provides them with loads and loads of experience and, again, more networking opportunities within the sector that they want to get into. So those are just a few. You can obviously imagine there are loads more, making friends, moving around the country. You know, there's loads of other benefits as well. If, you know, Sadiq or anybody wants to add other benefits into the chat from certainly that they can think of that I'm not saying, then that's great. The other thing, did you get paid? Is it competitive? Yes, the job market in the UK, globally, everything is competitive. Okay, so it's really important that you understand you are business students. So part of being a business student is understanding the sectors that you're trying to get into, and actually that things are competitive. Understanding competition is one of the things that is really important. But applying to placements, certainly what's happened is where students haven't found placements, do you know what they've said? They've actually said to me the importance that they some of the things maybe that Paul Vick has been talking about, sort of understanding applications, the recruitment cycle, understanding how to speak to employers, all of that has actually benefited them because they've been applying to placements as well. So I think that is helpful in the competition. But the other thing is what I said right at the very beginning of my slides is that it depends. So it depends on a lot of other things as well. The sector that you're trying to get into, the role that you're trying to get into, what your previous experience is, how you have kind of harnessed and carved out some of the transferable skills that we've been talking about. So there's a number of different things that actually will help you towards easing that competitiveness of that particular market that you're trying to get into. And that kind of answers the very last question as well. So I haven't got a tangible percentage in front of me that talks about the percentage of employability after 1 year of masters without doing a placement. But what I can say is that it benefits you because you are in that job market. We can support you with both job applications and placement applications equally. And sometimes alongside one another. Sometimes people prefer to do both at the same time, applying to both things at the same time. But accessing that support from the services that are available to you on campus will actually help you personally to increase your employability, whether you do a placement or whether you don't. So if anyone else wants to add anything there, please do. I know we're kind of coming up to time. I don't know whether there's any last bits of advice. Rebecca?
Yeah. I think that I feel like you covered it all in your answer there. Appreciate it. Yeah, maybe if we have, I know you've all kind of brought in your advice for students. Maybe, yeah, if there's any final piece of advice you would have for a student to go in, but I think we've got most of the questions in the chat.
I think I think I might pull Steve back in, actually, because we were talking before this started on dream jobs, and I quite like that gem of information.
Yeah, well, well, thank you, Helen. Yeah, thanks for your presentation. I don't know about a gem of information, just based on my own personal experience and the experience of many students over the years. It's that sometimes when you're an undergraduate or a postgraduate student, you feel you've got to find your dream job straight away. If you like, you've got to play for Real Madrid straight away, as opposed to work your way up. There's a bit of a football analogy there. In terms of, I remember when I did my master's degree many years ago, long time ago, but I wanted to go and work for Merrill Lynch or Goldman Sachs straight away. And that's very, very unlikely. You sometimes have to work for a more bespoke firm, a smaller firm, perhaps in the same industry, but with different skills. So I would say to all graduates, undergraduates, postgraduates, be flexible in your job searches. That's very important. Be realistic. Yes, some students get their dream job straight away. Fantastic. But many people sort of zigzag their way up through their careers, gaining different skills, gaining different networks. So that's very important. So that's one piece of advice I'd always give. The second bit is to be proactive. You know, Goldman Sachs or British Petroleum or Lufthansa are not necessarily going to be knocking on your door looking for you, unless perhaps your mother's the CEO. Other than that, then it's not the case. So you have to be proactive, make applications, persevere, and develop your CV. You touched upon that, Helen, and so did Purvika and Suresh, about developing the other employability skills while you're here at Kent, which is the key thing, the key opportunity that we give is to allow you to develop your ambassadorial skills, your volunteering skills, your IT skills. That's so important. Most employers now expect academic excellence or pretty close to it. So you've got to differentiate yourself in many of these other ways. And that's why a placement is very important. Also, I add, I'm going on a bit, forgive me. I'd also add that many placement opportunities will offer a job at the end as well. So I know on the undergraduate side, which I do specialise a little more in, that a significant proportion, up towards 2/3 of students, get offered some sort of relationship after their placement, either part-time, full-time, grad scheme, whatever. So I've always advised students and my own daughters as well, if in doubt, do an industrial placement, a year in industry, because I think it can only benefit you. And you're not forced to do it either. If you don't find one that suits you, the location, the type of placement, we're not going to sort of usher you out with a pitchfork to tell you you've got to do it. It is a negotiated process. So those are my, if you like,
Gems.
Added pieces of advice based on experience, really.
Yeah, thank you. There's another question actually in the chat, which might be a really good one for the students to answer. Please, in terms of part-time job, how can one navigate it without clashing with lecture time? Suresh, do you want to talk about that when it comes down to doing your ambassador work? And then we'll go to Purvika quickly.
Well, if you end up getting a job inside the university, there are so many factors that you need to consider. First one, you only have 20 hours of work permit as a student. So there is no way that is going, you're not going to get so busy. So you cannot do your studies and you can work at the same time. Don't worry about that. That's fine. And also the job shifts that you're going to take are really flexible. It really depends on your capabilities. For example, they're going to just put a lot of shifts out there in the portal. Then you can select between them if you are going to be able to take any of those shifts. And maybe sometimes you have a lot of exams, you can just stop working for 2 weeks and then continue to take some shifts. Everything is depends on your decisions. So there is no pressure on you. Don't worry about that.
Thank you. And I know, Purvika, you've had a couple of part-time jobs and things over the time that you've been with us.
So I'm a shift manager in Greg's right now, and this is my third job. As Paroj already explained about on-campus jobs, I'll not repeat it being a ambassador, but I'll say how it works outside the campus. Even if you're working off campus, they'll ask for your availability. So you can give your availability when you don't have your lectures. Most of the times you can go for your weekends or evening shifts where they're really flexible, and everybody is aware that they won't give you more than 20 hours if you're an immigrant student, and they'll adjust as per your schedule, so you don't need to worry about clashing it.
Yeah. So most of the time, employers are very flexible and understanding, particularly in university cities, because they're very used to what we would kind of say, student jobs and student employment. So they're very used to having those conversations. That's absolutely fine. Thank you. Any other questions?
I don't know if we have any other questions. I just want to make sure that if anyone didn't see it in the chat, we also got a little note from Debbie Cook in admissions, who mentioned that if you are unsure about if you want to study a master's with the placement year, that you could register for the 2-year course in the first instance and decide at a later date whether you still want to take that placement year. As she mentions, it's easier to remove this from your registration than it is to add it from a visa point of view. So just something to keep in mind if it's something that you're pretty sure you want to do, but you're not 100%. It may be worth going for it and then kind of reevaluating in your first year. Yeah, I feel like we've got some amazing questions here, and we got a lot of really great advice. Thank you so much. Pravika and Sarush and Helen and Steve, today. It was great to hear so much helpful information. I see, Helen, you put your LinkedIn to connect further. If you do have any other questions, you can also email us at the KBS Marketing or Recruitment email, or if you have questions about your applications, you can email us at kbsadmissions at kent.ac.uk. I will also put that in here. But thank you so much to everyone who's attended. Thank you again for so much insightful information from our students and our staff and academics. It was great to hear from you all. And thank you so much for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you at our August session, where we expand a little bit more.
Thank you. We look forward to meeting some of you as well in person.
Exactly that. And I should have said Chelsea, not Real Madrid, in my dream job analogy. Come on, you Blues.